So let's talk about this fascinating idea from Imam Ali that a sin which leads to humility and repentance is, well, actually more beloved to God than a good deed that leads to arrogance. I mean, think about that for a second. It's sort of counterintuitive, right? Usually we view sins as the ultimate failures and good deeds as the pinnacle of success. But here's the twist. It's not just about what you do, it's about what that action does to you. When you commit a sin, and I'm not saying anyone's proud of that, but when you mess up and it brings you to a place of, let's say, brokenness, where you're fully aware of your flaws, that humility can become a doorway. It opens you up to self-awareness and, honestly, a deeper reliance on something greater than yourself. It's like, in acknowledging your shortcomings, you're taking the first step toward real growth. And it kind of reminds me of something we see all the time in life. Like, take someone who's hit rock bottom. Maybe they've gone through failure, embarrassment, even something really personal like losing their integrity. But what happens next? A lot of the time, if they're honest with themselves, it's almost like, I don't know, their soul gets lighter because they're no longer trying to, keep up some perfect facade. They start rebuilding from the inside out. And that real transformation is where the magic happens. There's this story of a guy, call him Jake, who lost his job because he was cutting corners at work. Long story short, it crushed him. And for the first time, he really had to look at how his pride had been driving him. Like, to appear successful even when it meant compromising his values. That failure, it forced him to confront his flaws. Fast forward a couple of years, he's got his life together, and he's mentoring others to avoid the same mistakes. Without that moment of failure, though, I'm not sure he'd have gotten to that place of strength. It's such a powerful example of how humility can, enrich your life, This perspective, it really challenges us to look at our own actions differently. Are they bringing us closer to the kind of person we want to be, or pulling us away because we get caught up in pride? That's exactly what Imam Ali is pointing to. It's not the sin or the good deed in isolation that matters. It's the effect these have on your heart, your intentions, your relationship with. So let's dive a little deeper into this idea of pride ruining a good deed. Imam Ali talks about how self-admiration can take something beautiful, like charity or kindness, and twist it into something almost, hollow. It's like the moment you pat yourself on the back and think, wow, I'm really nailing this whole virtuous life thing. You're kind of missing the point, aren't you? I mean, think about it. Have you ever done something good? Maybe you helped a friend move, donated to a cause, or volunteered at an event, and then afterwards maybe posted about it on social media. Now, don't get me wrong, there's nothing inherently bad about sharing, but sometimes it becomes less about the act itself and more about the recognition. It's that subtle shift where the intention, kind of gets blurry. You're not just doing good, you're, in a way, performing goodness. And the thing is, this isn't new. It's something that people have struggled with forever. Take a historical figure like, let's say, King Saul in the biblical story. His downfall, at least in part, was linked to a kind of complacency. This sense that he was righteous, favoured, untouchable. That arrogance blinded him, not just to his mistakes, but to the bigger picture of what leadership and responsibility were supposed to mean. It's a classic tale, and it just shows how dangerous pride can be, even when it stems from, your successes or virtues. And maybe that's why this teaching from Imam Ali is so, grounding. It makes you pause and ask, why am I doing this? Am I genuinely trying to help someone? Or am I quietly hoping people notice? Because at the end of the day, pride doesn't just dilute the good deed. It can make you start believing that you don't even need to improve anymore. Like you've already arrived at some imaginary finish line of goodness. And that, honestly, can be toxic. It's where arrogance grows, where relationships with others and with yourself start to break down. And really, doesn't this just underscore the importance of staying honest with yourself? It's not about perfection, but about awareness, humility. It's interesting to think about how much the heart matters when it comes to our actions. Imam Ali really emphasizes this, doesn't he? That what's going on inside, your intention, often carries more weight than what people see on the outside. Because at the end of the day, outward appearances can be, deceiving. They don't always tell the full story of where your mind and soul are. It's kind of like this. I once knew someone who would always volunteer for everything at work. Charity drives, team leadership roles, you name it, they were there. And everyone thought, wow, what a selfless person. But over time, it came out that a big part of their motivation was, really, angling for promotions. They wanted to be noticed by the higher-ups. And hey, I'm not saying ambition is bad, but it's telling, isn't it? An act that looks generous on the surface can be fueled by, something totally self-serving. See, that's what makes Imam Ali's teaching so profound. He's not just talking about what we do, but why we do it. And really, that question, why, can be so revealing. I mean, if we're honest, how often do we stop and ask ourselves, what's my real reason here? Am I acting from a place of love, of service? Or is it pride or maybe guilt that's secretly driving me? It's a tough conversation to have with yourself, but honestly, an essential one. And self-reflection. It's not just a one-off thing. It's like maintenance for your soul. You keep checking in, making adjustments, staying mindful. Without that, it's just so easy to slip into patterns that, let's face it, aren't always aligned with who we want to be. A lot of spiritual traditions stress this, actually. Regular self-assessment, taking that pause to evaluate your heart and your intentions. It's not about beating yourself up, it's about staying grounded. I guess what this all comes down to is sincerity. Whether it's an act of kindness or prayer, or even just the way you show up in your daily life, it's the sincerity that gives it weight, that makes it meaningful. And maybe that's the takeaway from all of this. If we can approach our actions with humility, always looking to align our intentions with something greater than ourselves, that's where we'll find the real value. And that's all for today. Thanks for joining me on this journey through humility, pride, and intention. Until next time, take care and stay curious.